Welcome to Oakmont High School team.
Hello, thank you for being here today. We are the Oakmont High School team. My name is Mildred and I work primarily with architecture.
My name is Dominic. I primarily work with engineering.
My name is Matthew and I work in architecture.
I'm Alex and I focused on the design and construction of the physical mock-up.
My name is Kenesha and I was the project manager.
I am Andrew and I primarily work on engineering.
My name is Michelle and I am the communications director.
So to begin today, we wanted to address our RFP and what we had to do. So for our RFP, we were challenged to create a mobile, low-budget home, otherwise known as a tiny home. And it was to be under 400 square feet with a maximum budget of $50,000. And the requirements were that it had a dedicated sleeping space, a kitchen with appliances, a restroom with a shower and commode, and a living area, which were all things that we were able to incorporate into our design. So to go over our design, we're really going to show the floor plans. So at the beginning, it might look like a regular standard mobile home with the bathroom on the left going to the single bedroom, then the living room, and finally the kitchen. But however, we wanted to change our design a little bit, so we actually decided to have a pivot. So our house is actually pivotable, and what you saw before is what it would look like on the road. However, we wanted to open it up to accommodate for a porch or deck of sorts, and also an enclosed backyard setting. So later we will talk about how we generated this design to accommodate for the needs of Generation Z specifically. So now, here is the outside rendering of the exterior rendering of our building. We decided to go with a modern theme, which you will see later in the other renderings, but we decided to go with wood paneling for the outside. And now to pass it on to Dominic, who will go over the logistics of this project.
Thank you, Mildred. So our tiny house was aimed typically towards Generation Z or younger generations. We conducted a study by a variety of demographics, and Generation Z typically said that when they were to buy a home, they would prefer a tiny home or a 300 square foot house over a traditional home. Now, we also found a study that psychologically 91% of Generation Z is considered stressed. So we felt that making the necessities in the house, such as plumbing, insulation, and heating, to be as low as possible, the cost of those necessities to be as low as possible. That way, the stress levels of Generation Z wouldn't be as high. Now, the house is compatible, or the insulation of the house is compatible for climates such as in California, which is considered moderate. And for California, the R value for the insulation is typically supposed to be around 13 to 15, and ours is 15, so it is around average. And we also included a portable conditioner and heater with 8,000 BTUs in the house, just to make sure that it wasn't too hot or too cold. All right, now I'll pass it on to Matthew.
Thank you, Dominic. So in our house design, we had two parts, the private living area and the general living area. In the private living area, residentials could store their personal belongings while sleeping and using the bathroom. On the other hand, the general area was used for entertaining guests. The private area consists of a bedroom and a bathroom and is 121 square feet in total. In the bathroom, there's a shower, toilet, and sink. We also have a medicine cabinet with a mirror so that residents can store their personal belongings and other necessities. Additionally, there are 4 shelves where residents can store towels and other belongings that they'd like to store. Unlike the rest of the house, the flooring in the bathroom uses tile. In the bedroom, there is a bunk bed, a nightstand, a dresser, and also a compact working space that can be pushed away for more space. Residents can choose to either have more living space or more to be able to access their workspace inside their bedroom. Also, the bunk bed has a workspace underneath so that they can store their personal belongings. Now I'll pass it to Alex, who will talk about the general living area.
Thank you, Matthew. So the second larger part of the house is the living area, which constitutes about 202 square feet. It's mostly used to entertain guests since it is removed from the private areas of the tiny house, such as the bedroom or the bathroom. So the living area will contain a sofa, a coffee table, stand for a TV, storage shelves, and a dining table with built-in chairs that are movable in order to create more space. So the general living area also includes a kitchen, which is stocked with a refrigerator, oven, sink, and dishwasher. It also has wood cabinets that are sized smaller than traditional kitchen cabinets in order to accommodate for this less space available. And I will pass it on to Kanisha, who explains the physical mock-up.
So this is our physical mock-up over here. So we used our physical model to help explain how our tiny house can pivot. We created a hinging tiny house using 2 separate trailers for each living area that is both suitable for travel with trailer with no special permit and yet can be pivoted upon arrival at the final site. This will create a more open L shape that accommodates for a backyard area and a deck. So this area that is painted black over here would be the trailer. As you can see, the deck would be stored underneath the trailer. This end of the deck would be connected to the other trailer, so as that part of the trailer is pivoted, the deck emerges from underneath it. As the deck comes out from underneath the trailer, there are legs that will snap out from underneath the deck. That'll help stabilize it. Our engineering component was using plumbing engineering to figure out how the plumbing would work with the pivot. So there was an issue connecting the plumbing from the kitchen to the bathroom, since they are in separate living areas. Since the 2 areas are sometimes connected and sometimes separated by the deck, normal pipes would not work to connect both sections. To solve this issue, we came up with the idea to use PEX, or cross-linked polyethylene waterline. The PEX waterline would be flexible, so the plumbing could easily connect in between both living areas. So when both areas are connected, the waterline would be like so, and when both areas separate, then the waterline can also separate. So there will be a twist and lock fixture for the pipes, which will make it easier for the residents to use, and this will make it permanent. And now I'll pass it on to Andrew.
Thank you. The RFP called for a maximum budget of $50,000 and the dimensions of 40 feet, 8 feet, 6 inches by 13 feet and 6 inches. And between 100 and 400 square feet of livable area and the maximum of 10,000 pounds of weight of the tiny home. Our house ended up with having a cost of $28,000. We've decided to keep the price of the house lower because we wanted to make sure it's easily available for Generation Z to buy, since we are financially strapped from college debt. And the dimensions when it is being transported will be 40 feet by 8 feet 6 inches by 10 feet 6 inches by including the height of the trailer. Because the trailer was 3 feet above the ground, the RFP called the total height of 13 feet and 6 inches. And it had 323 square feet of livable area and weighed around 8,173 pounds, including the trailer. And here are the calculations for the budget of the house. And these are the calculations for the weight of the tiny house.
So now we will present a video brought to you by Michelle, our communication director.
I was interested in learning more about engineering, so I decided to join Create. When I joined, I didn't really know anything about architecture or engineering, but I learned so much from being in the club these last 2 years. We used a lot of programs that you would actually in the industry, like Revit and AutoCAD, and it was really fun and interesting to do so. It was interesting to also complete a whole project in the same manner that we would in the industry, with whole schedules, and we had to complete an entire building. And it was interesting also to work with a lot of different fields and make them come together and form one building.
So, hi, my name is Mildred Mavis. I've been in this club for 3 years now, since freshman year, and I really love this club because it's given me a chance to explore different fields in architecture and construction and engineering, which is something that I'm really interested in going into. And it gives me that opportunity to work in a hands-on environment, whereas a lot of classes that are offered here don't allow me to. And so I'm just really grateful to be given that opportunity. I think it's a really great place to learn leadership skills and also just collaboration in general, because you're always working with people who have different ideas than you, and they all have pretty great ways to do it. So just being here on the team is just great.
Thank you for watching.